Hi, welcome to Talking Texas Politics and Texas Policy. I am Dr. Jo Marie Rios. I have a PhD in political science, and I will be talking about Texas politics and Texas government and Texas policy making. You know, I know that there's so much going on in the world of politics right now, and there's all these terms being floated around. And so I'm going to be talking to you about some of the terminology that's being used and what exactly those terms mean. But more importantly, I know that a lot of times people have been out of school for a while, or maybe, I know through in high school, they don't teach Texas government at all. And so you may have had Texas government way a long time ago. So this is kind of like maybe a refresher course for you. And so there's some things that are so important about this particular election cycle, because they were saying that this election cycle is going to determine whether or not our democracy is going to continue to exist. And they're calling it existential democracy. It's a threat to existential democracy. So let's talk about what democracy is, and we're going to be talking about what autocracy is. And so, that's in a different little section that I'm going to be, presenting to you at a later time. But anyway, so basically, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be giving you some definitions about the basic terminology that's being used. I'm going to be talking to you about policymaking, especially when it comes to the state of Texas. Some stuff's more American government, but a lot of stuff's going to be Texas and the way that Texas does this. I taught Texas government, Texas politics for like 22 years. So in all of this time, Texas is like a whole other country. I mean, it really truly is. And so, in a lot of ways, we have to kind of say, okay, well, then how is it done in Texas? And what kind of impact, what kind of impact it's going to have on me, and how can I impact government? So we're going to be talking about it in those terms because it is our government. I mean, it is we the people, right? It is our government. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that kind of thing. I'm going to be talking about the party platforms. And so and for the two major parties in the state of Texas, and there's basically four, but I'm going to be covering the party platforms for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And I will be providing links and resources to you so that if you want to go look at it, you can go look at it. But and so in these party platforms, what it does, it tells you how each party wants to handle every single substantive issue area. And public policy is my main area. And so the way I'm going to be talking about it is that the party platforms are done every 4 years. They were just published during the summer. And so I'm going to be looking at salient issues or important issues or wedge issues. And so I'm not going to say this is good, this is bad. The way that I'm going to be presenting it is that this is who it will help and this is who it will harm. Because when it comes to policy making, the bottom line is do no harm. That's the mantra, do no harm. And so we are the citizens of Texas. Now, in this section that I'm going to be doing on policy making, there's as I said, Texas is a whole other country, and it makes laws in different ways. And so the basic way that we can impact our state representatives, because so much is now being handled at the state level, is by you going out to vote. It is like the one thing that defines our democracy is for us to be able to go out and vote and have our say. And that's called political efficacy, meaning, hey man, my vote counts. And I know most people think, well, my vote doesn't count, et cetera, et cetera. Well, maybe at the national level for the presidential elections, it is the electoral college, but for every other single election, your vote absolutely counts. And whoever's going to be sitting in Austin is going to be making the laws. And so what the party platform does, saying this is how the Republican Party plans to make these laws, this is how the Democratic Party would tend to make these laws. So it's kind of based on ideology to a certain extent, not completely, to a certain extent. So I'm going to be talking about the different wedge issues or the different important issues in the state of Texas that I've been hearing, that are being tossed around. There's a lot of chatter about them. So we'll be covering some of those. If you would like for me to look at another issue, and we know we're going into a legislative session in January, I'll be glad to do that. Subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel, and just send me a message through there. So I will be also covering a section on voting and the importance of voting, and trying to connect and show you how the relationship between your vote and who's up in Austin in terms of the Texas legislature in terms of what we call the plural executive, which is, I'm sure, is a term that we've never heard. But it's basically the governor and all of these elected officials that we will be electing that kind of run the state of Texas. So I'm just going to be covering little different issues like that. So as I said, I hope you enjoy this. I love politics. As I said, I've been teaching politics for a long time. I just want people to know what they're kind of getting into and to kind of think about. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. I'm going to tell you how you should be thinking about things. So enjoy.